So back at Islands of Adventure once again in June, and of course it is hot.
Full-on summer here.
Full-on Florida summer.
In Orlando.
No longer preheating. We are in the Florida summer.
We're heated.
Which means you need to come prepared. You know, maybe when you're thinking of, oh, I'll, you know, go in the shade, or I'll just have some water on me. There's much more to that than just, you know, those kind of basic things when you're talking about being here at Universal in the summer.
I would say it's actually one of the things that we see the most from people who aren't from here, either whether they're from maybe from other countries where it just doesn't get as hot, or even just from the northern states, and they come here and they're like, oh, our summers are hot too, but they're maybe not necessarily this hot unless you live in very specific places. Probably not as hot as it is here. So we wanted to just share some of our tried and true ways to keep cool at the theme parks in the summer today. The first and probably most obvious way is just to stay really hydrated, and that probably means not drinking a lot of soda or coffee or caffeine, because that is going to dehydrate you really, really quickly in not only the heat but the sun. Like, the sun is really intense here because most places are not as close to the equator in the US as Florida. So there's definitely want to drink tons and tons and tons of water, like way more than you think that you need to drink. And what's really nice about Universal, and not as nice about Disney actually, is that they have the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines, and you can get ice water completely for free. You can also go into any quick service restaurant and get a cup of ice water. There are also some refill stations as well as some water fountains, but those are typically hot, so you don't necessarily want those. But we'll show you like the refill stations. Those are really nice, and you don't have to just use them for soda. You can use them for ice water as well.
Another good thing that you might want to think about bringing is a fan. Now, they do sell these kind of fans here at Universal. Of course, you're going to pay like 2 or 3 times the price, so you might as well come prepared. Get one off of Amazon or, you know, Walmart or whatever for like $5, $10.
Yeah,
or if you have a Five Below sponsor.
Yeah, this is like our best friend during the summer. It really just kind of takes the edge off when it's just really hot. And
especially when you put ice in it.
Yes, you can put ice in it from the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. And then also, we'll just kind of pan this way for a second. They do have some cooling stations at Universal. They're not always working. Sometimes they have them in the queues, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have them around the park, sometimes they don't. But you can always have your own. Yeah, one of these. And honestly, the fan on it isn't great. We really just use it for the water. They also have those neck fans. I'm gonna be honest, we haven't resorted to that yet, but we do. A lot of people swear by them, so it's one thing to try. One thing we have tried that we can recommend is the cooling towels. Those are great. The only thing we don't like about them is it just gets your clothes kind of wet, so that's annoying. But while we're on that topic, one way to cool down if you're at Islands of Adventure, like we are today,
rides,
is the water rides. So we have a video, I think, about, or a blog post anyway, about water rides at Universal. I'll link it below. But just so you know, they're pretty much all here at Islands of Adventure, and you will get very, very, very wet on one of them, pretty wet on another, kind of on another. And that's a really great way to cool off. Just, you know, maybe bring an extra pair of clothes in your park bag for that day.
They also have these little drying stations.
Yes.
Don't work that well, but it's better than nothing.
You can also kind of hack that for free in some of the restrooms. They have the hand dryers, so it doesn't work as well either. But yeah, the people dryers, I think they're like $5 for a few minutes, and they kind of work, but honestly in the summer it's so hot you might dry out in an hour or 2 anyway. And if you have kids, most kids aren't going to care to walk around wet for a bit, so it might be a great way for them to cool off. And especially for the little ones, there's also various splash pads. We'll try to show some of those, and like little water feature areas they can play in.
So another perfect way to cool down during the Florida summer is definitely indoor rides. there's certainly more indoor rides in Studios than there are in Islands of Adventure, but Islands of Adventure still has
And
a few.
more in both parks than in Epic. We made a
Yeah.
video about Epic, kind of our first impressions. We'll link it up here somewhere. Epic Universe is really an amazing park, but so much of their stuff is outside. So if you're going to Epic, I'm just gonna caution you in the summer, be very careful because so much of it is outdoors and there's very limited shade compared to the other parks. So just please be mindful of that.
So we're currently in Islands of Adventure, so we can start with talking about some of the indoor rides here, which is Spider-Man. Spider-Man's an indoor one. King Kong is indoor as well. These all have AC in them, so it's a good way to cool off. And
Forbidden Journey. Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat, definitely. Their AC is like,
It's blasting.
whoever their HVAC people are like the world's best, because
Yes.
their AC is always ice cold.
The only place for better AC is the single rider queue at MIB.
Yeah, yeah.
That's in Universal Studios.
That's also in Universal Studios, and they use Alien HVAC people, so that's kind of why. Just a fun fact. So those are all the Islands of Adventure ones. Really great park over here for indoor rides, and we'll touch on the water rides after we jump over to Studios because they have more
lot more
indoor
indoor
rides.
rides,
So
yes.
you want to start naming them off?
There's so many, I'm probably gonna miss one, but The Mummy, Fast and the Furious,
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon. I know. I'm just mentioning them. I'm not saying to ride them. Gringotts, Transformers,
Minions,
both
Both.
Minions, both Minion Blast and
Villain Con.
Villain Con. Or Villain Con is Minion
Oh,
Blast. And both of them.
Mini
Both
Mayhem.
Minion Mayhem.
They do have a couple shows there as well. They have the Rocky Horror Show, our makeup show, which is
Indoors.
The
Born
Born
Stuntacular. Very cool. Very,
Recommended?
Very,
Unless you get motion sick.
I meant like very air conditioned, but
Cool
it is
and cool.
but it is a really good show too. Will cause a little bit of motion sickness, but it's a really good show. Animal Actors is not indoors and air conditioned, but it is in the shade, so it's still not a bad option for those really hot days.
Great option if it's raining,
Yeah.
which you can see on our other video,
We
which
do
we'll
have a
link up here.
video. Yes, we do have a video about what to do in the rain, which kind of is almost what to do when it's hot because
Yeah.
it's
Coincides.
well, except for when it's hot, you can also do water rides. In the rain, if there's lightning, you're not going to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
no lightning. But
And
they
then
still run them in water.
Yes, and then and we have a whole blog post of rides, so I will link those up here just because we're probably forgetting a few. At Epic, there's very few that are indoors. The other
Monsters
one-
Unchained,
Monsters Unchained is indoors,
which is really cool.
which is really cool. They do
Cool
have,
and cool.
they have one water-ish ride. That was the it's in Isle of Burke. You're outside, but
Yeah.
you'll get wet on that
Yeah.
ride. But as far as indoor rides, there's
Mario Kart. Mario Kart's indoors. There's a couple of the interactive games that are also indoors too.
yes, and they're nice and air conditioned.
Yeah.
And
Ministry of Magic. Yeah.
yeah,
So that one's
not
also
as
indoors.
much over at Epic, but if you are over there and it's hot, jump in a queue for one of those or into a restaurant.
And if you want more info on Epic, we have a whole blog post, everything on there. So check it out in the description below. But we did miss one in
thing here at Islands of Adventure.
Yep, which was the Discovery Center
Yes.
in Jurassic Park.
Yes, that's a lot of fun for kind of the younger kids, and there's a lot of stuff you can do in there, and it's nice and air conditioned. So that's something else that you can do indoors. If you just get a little bit warm.
So yeah, that's everything to try and keep cool here at Universal Studios Orlando in the Florida summer, or you could just not come in summer and come in the winter when it's
We
more.
say that, but we're sitting here in late June.
But we're also local, so we know when to come.
Yeah. Yeah, but we know that it's much better to be here in January. And we're here in January.
Temperature-wise, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, so if you have any questions or would like to reach out or just leave a comment below if we
If
maybe
you have
missed
any
something,
tips that we missed, yeah.
or if you have a question about like a certain ride or something, we can always kind of fill you in and let you know on what what we know. We come pretty regularly, and so yeah, just feel free to leave a comment below if you like Universal Orlando content. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and thanks for the support. We'll see you on the next one.